Another day, another Bitcoin.
Yeah, something like that. If y'all could see the way we've got this camera set up right now, it's just ridiculous. There's like baling wire around it. I think it's like gift wrapping wire.
I should take a picture of it and bask in the glory of our setup, our tech. I forgot my little cell phone
Why
stand.
Come we can't use that damn thing?
Oh, that would work. Well, it's set up now. I wasn't even looking at that. Yeah, there's a thing right there.
God bless America. We MacGyvered it.
Yeah.
This thing is super MacGyvered right now.
Well, it's like you have day jobs all day, all week. Friday evening hits, and you just want to nap. And then you get up in the morning on Saturday, and you hit our side job here.
Fiat mines.
Our fiat brain is detoxing, and we're getting into our Bitcoin safe space.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I forgot that. And, oh, we still have shitty audio, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've made a deal. I've made a deal. I don't know if Fritz is on board with this necessarily, but if we hit 21 episodes, I'm buying actual microphones, like, you know, some decent stand mics.
I get jealous when I see other podcasts, and they're like, oh, get that mic closer to you, and they just move this nice, big, quiet arm.
Oh, yeah.
The BBC, the big black microphone.
Yeah, it looks like a Shure mic or a Rode mic or something like that.
And it's just talking to the black pill.
Yeah.
And it's...
I'm not gonna go quite that far. People are overdoing it with those things, I'm here to tell you. They're like, those mics are not cheap. They're, you know, a couple $100 or something like that. $120 dynamic mic will do the exact same thing and probably give you better performance characteristics and be less fragile. So that's where I'm going with this.
I'm up for anything that works.
Yeah.
We've made it work, but...
And then we can just have a mic and we can just be sitting there just like looking like we're playing with a microphone all day.
We've had a couple of comments on the YouTube channel.
Have we?
There have been 2 at least that I saw that were like, need better audio. Like, and appreciating the content, but audio sucks. And it's like, yeah. I know how it is when, oh, the intro music sounds fine, but then I've got to turn the volume. Well, you turn the volume up on a podcast, and I'll be listening to them. I'm not sitting there staring at faces all the time, but I'll be doing stuff, listening. And if an ad pops in for YouTube because I don't pay for it, then it's like, wow, Geico wants to da da da. It's like, oh my god, skip that, and then it's back to the audio like.
I can just barely hear these.
Anyways, that's us.
Hey, here's a pro tip, man. Go get yourself Brave browser, and then you can watch YouTube for free.
How do you do that?
You download Brave browser and go.
Brave just does that?
Yeah, just blocks all that shit automatically.
I thought YouTube was working like, oh no, we're trying to block the blockers. I don't know.
But it works. Brave. I just like because I'll roll videos on my like Edge browser or Chrome or some shit like that, and sure enough, here's a video about some stuff you don't care about. Yeah, thanks. But then I'll just copy that link, put it in Brave, and just watch the whole video.
If the ads were just 5 to 15 seconds, and I knew that would be fine. My hands are full. I'll listen to it. But when it goes to here's a 5-second one, and you get used to that. And if you don't skip it specifically, here's another one that's a minute and a half.
Right.
And I'll be working away. Oh, this ad will end. Da da da. A minute later, I'm like, why am I still hearing this guy telling me how to get rich off crypto?
Some of those ads are seriously 30 minutes.
It's like, oh my goodness. It's like, did you fall asleep? Maybe, subconsciously you're going to download some guy's Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's nonsense.
Anyway, I don't pay for YouTube, and I sort of refuse to because it works.
Fuck Google anyway.
I can tolerate ads.
I am the product of Google. Like, they're already making money off my back, and then they want to charge me for my... it's just... I'm
already the product, and now I'm listening to other products as well, which, multifaceted money streams, I suppose. But, yeah, I get so used to not having ads or having control over, I can skip one, that when I was visiting family a couple weekends ago, and there was like... I guess they were watching the Olympics. Okay, so they're watching the Olympics. And so I'm watching, and it's like normal TV, and then the ads come on, and in my head I'm thinking, oh, this will just be a little bit or something. As a kid, I remember sitting through ads selling soap and little toys and stuff and cereal, and you'd sit through 5 to 7 minutes of straight da-da-da-da-da-da, and you just like... We're used to that.
Yeah.
I cannot stand it anymore. It's
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me? This is such
Yeah.
weird
Toxic shit.
brainwashing.
Yeah. Just
I don't
toxic
know.
sludge getting down.
As a kid, you don't know it better, and as an adult, now that you have options, you're watching ads going, yeah, I don't want to know all these side effects of your drug that,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. You could dick
My-
pills or your fucking...
My erectile functioning.
Yeah, whatever the hell pills or something. Your fat pills, your dick pills, your... I don't know.
Well, they're gouging us, the pharmaceuticals, the grocery companies. We need to price fix everything.
Come on, Comrade Kamala.
No, Marx wrote about this. The price of a loaf of bread should be $5, and we're going to make it $5, and those grocery stores are not going to charge us more money for the things what they're worth. We got to fix all the prices, a big formula, a ledger of all the things that things are worth, and make it that. And no greedy corporation will charge us more than we deserve to pay.
Zero chance that survives constitutional scrutiny under the Supreme Court we have. Zero chance. They will 9-0 that into oblivion. Like, it's just bullshit campaign stuff. I mean,
here's some free money. We're going to print some more money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all they're about. It's just like, hey, who wants a freebie? It's like being on Oprah all day. Like, you get a car, and you get a...
I get a vote, and I get a vote, and I get a vote.
Yeah, exactly. It's just...
You hear $25,000 for a house, going to school, over your eyeballs in debt for a degree you don't know what to do with.
Free!
We're going to wipe that off.
Here's a bailout.
Here's a bailout. Here's a bailout. You want a house, you get a house.
I mean, this will be a controversial take, but the thing is the federal government should never have gotten into the business of guaranteeing student loans to begin with. Now that they have, and they've absolutely just catastrophized the entire education industry, there is merit to the idea that, hey, maybe you guys should pick up the tab on that. Now, that's our tab, but ultimately it's not. Just, you know, like, people getting all down, like, what about the people that paint their loans? And it's like, you know what? If
I paid mine, you're paying yours.
I didn't see anybody bitching about, like, how Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and all those people got a few cool trillion just to go blow shit up and then rebuild it in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then we left half that shit behind in Afghanistan now.
Mm-hmm. Or the Pentagon just literally doesn't know where $14 trillion went.
Right.
Period.
Oopsie. Sorry about that.
Who knows? I mean...
And so people like to get bent out of shape about the little moral thing that they think they can rail against because they pay their bills and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what, dude? Where was all your outrage when it was Raytheon? Where was all your outrage when it was JP Morgan? I mean, it's like, those are the people that are fucking you over right now, not some fucking boob that went and got himself a degree in cultural studies. Like,
yeah. Well, and it's not tangible. When I think about the size of the dollars in this intangible space that you never see, it never trickles down to our level. It doesn't.
Right.
We don't know what that means to have lost $14 trillion. And so it's kind of like, I mean, you can't even see it. It's like, what is that thing on the horizon? It's too big. I can't see it.
My point is there are bigger things afoot, and if it's okay to send, a few trillion of monopoly money to the defense industry, if it's okay to send a few trillion to the pharma industry, if it's okay to send a few trillion to big pharma and to big ag and all this other shit, all the other things that are subsidized and all just wrecked to hell because of the fiat mindset, bailing out the 1.3 billion in student loans or whatever, you kind of look at it and go, look, you guys are getting wrapped around the axle about something that is not going to materially impact you. Social Security is a bigger scam than that by a mile, and that's grotesquely underfunded. So how about focus on the big picture?
Yeah, like they've been paying for or affording or printing money for these other things. So then the ones that we do understand, like payouts and bailouts and little pocketbook grocery stuff, feels big when comparatively it's just more little, trillions and small.
Well, it's just a way for people to get pissed, right? I mean, I want to be
political
angry
point.
about something. I'm angry about... Did you see the Dave Smith interview with Tucker Carlson? Or Tucker?
I want to see that. I got busy.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
I haven't seen it.
It's really good. It was actually
He's a
nice.
smart guy.
He's super smart, funny guy. And it was nice because he actually... Finally, I heard another voice. Like, 2 people I have heard so far mention in any context at all that we have had a coup in the United States of America. Dave Smith and Glenn Greenwald. Those are the only 2 human beings I've heard. Everyone else is just like, nah.
I've heard Bitcoiners refer to coup a lot. Truth for the Commoner, Marty Bent, quite a repetitively has mentioned it. I mean, because what else do you call it? I mean, Kamala got as many electoral votes as I did.
Right.
And anyway, just
but that's not the coup I'm talking about. They have deposed the sitting president of the United States of America.
I haven't heard from him lately. What's he doing?
That's my point.
See, it doesn't cross my mind if he's talking, I tune out anyway. It's like, oh, that's the elder abuse is painful, but I just don't even listen. So then the fact that he hasn't, I don't know where he is right now. I don't even think about it.
I think he has been replaced by a rubber masked man. I swear to God.
We got a few months to go here. Who's our president?
We don't have a president right now. That's the point. We have no sitting president.
We don't have a president of the United States?
No one gives a shit.
Well, maybe it's Harris. No, it's not. Can't be Harris.
Who's
Who's the president?
This is what's supposed to happen. Check this out, right? President Biden wins the presidency, and that's contested amongst probably half the people in America. They don't believe that actually happened or not. I'm not going to weigh in on that because I have no fucking idea. What I can say is, for the last 2 years, that guy was, as best I can tell, the president of the United States of America.
Apparently.
And it became very apparent about 6 months in that he was not fit to hold that office. Like anybody with eyes.
It wasn't official till late July or something.
It was obvious to anybody
it was
with
obvious.
eyes and ears. This man does not possess the mental acuity to safely execute the functions of that job.
I've been calling it elder abuse for a while, just watching him trying to figure out which beckoning hand to follow as his robot arms keep his balance.
Right.
And I'm like, sorry, guy.
Well, here's the thing. If and when the apparatus around him realizes that he's incompetent to hold office, the thing that has to happen legally is they invoke the 25th Amendment. They say, hey, you're going to sit the fuck down. She's going to take over. Period. End of story. You're the new president now. You get to be Gerald fucking Ford. Good luck.
There's a legal process to grapple with this concern, but they've avoided that and more kind of kept up a tapestry of, no, things are fine, and Joe's the president somehow.
Right. So rather than do the thing they're supposed to do, which is invoke the 25th, replace him as president, because that's going to screw up their prospects for their next election cycle. Because you can't go around and sit there and go, he's great, sharp as a tack, sharp as a tack, sharp as a tack. 2 weeks later go, he's a fucking idiot.
Definitely not.
He's a fucking potato. Oops.
He can't run, but he can be president.
Yeah,
Still.
He's not fit to run, but he's fit to be president. So that's a problem. The other problem is the second they put Kamala in office without that vote, if they invoke the 25th, then whatever campaign promises she's going to make are going to be null and void. They already are. My first day in office, I'm going to do this. You're already in office, lady. What the fuck are you talking about? You're not like some contender coming out of nowhere.
They could probably do whatever they want to do.
You're in the administration right now.
Do it right now.
Yeah. What's stopping you from implementing all these amazing changes? Go talk to your boss. If you can find him, because I'm pretty sure he's dead. I swear to God, I think Joe Biden has passed away.
He may have.
And they've replaced him with a little CIA bot that's got a fucking rubber mask on that's just walking around and doing, hey. Or you might notice he can walk fast now.
The theories over body doubles, I have not looked into it, but I mean, even Joe Rogan was diving into who is this guy who's half a foot taller and is walking great?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't look at it too closely because I'm kind of I can't go there. But who knows? It's just too crazy. I haven't seen him in a while.
If it weren't for the fact that 99% of Americans are absolute domesticated animals, people would have noticed.
Not our lovely audience,
all
for
12 of you. Thanks for tuning in. What the fuck, man? That's all I'm saying. But it was nice to hear Dave Smith talk about that and just say, hey, we had a coup, and he made a great point. The same point I am trying to make right now. What the fuck?
I don't know.
2 weeks after the former president nearly got his brains blown out on national television. Like, missed it by, like, get smart. Missed it by that much,
yeah.
you know. We almost watched that guy get smoked. We watched another guy get deposed. So we've watched the two leading presidential candidates in America nearly get evaporated right in front of our face. And the next thing people are bitching about is like, did you see the fucking Olympics? That guy had his balls out.
The blue man.
There's a guy out there with his balls out. They look like this.
Which I don't like either. And, yeah.
Who gives a flying fuck,
in the
man?
scheme of things I can see where...
They just tried to kill 2 presidents in 2 weeks. They deposed one, they nearly assassinated the other, and it was just dumb fucking luck that the other guy didn't get smoked. In 2 weeks. And
you
everyone's
say
just
they,
like...
but it was just a 20-year-old misfit who... no one can figure out why his cell phone is pinging off the FBI headquarters. It's just, I mean...
And that, it just a block away from the place where they always meet the people that they're setting up to fucking fall.
The shooting range where the NSA trains, and he went there a whole bunch, and it's kind of like, what is this kid doing? And he has no social media, or wait, is there some money somewhere for him somewhere? Anyway, that's all a conspiracy. I don't know. I got to be told by, when MSNBC tells me what to think, I will dutifully make note. No, I know what you mean, though. I mean, I think a lot of people, even if they care or they're capable of looking at things, it's so much, well, like our jobs through the week. You're busy. You're working. You go home to family. You have a life. You have so much time to, a lot of people, you go home and you got your 3 to 5 minutes to kind of download what happened today from the mouth that's talking at you.
Right.
So you have so much room to, like, learn reality, which is a bunch of propaganda.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, and then it's changed so much, you can't hardly get your head around it, and there's theories about it, and just mainly propaganda is what we get. So how do you decipher that? And then it's this change, and then that change, and then, oh my God, look at these dirty bojangles over here. Watch the jingling keys over here, babies. And you cannot sort it all out. It's just a mess.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That's precisely
That's
the point.
the op.
That is the op. The easiest thing in the world to do is to cut out the noise and focus on something. Like, hey, you guys just tried to kill a fucking president. Let's get to the bottom of that. Hey, you guys just deposed a president. Let's get to the bottom of that. Let's focus all of our attention. Let's not get that. But everyone, all they want to do is be pissed. They don't give a fuck about anything. People, most of you, most everybody, do not give a fuck about anything meaningful. They just want to be mad about those goddamn libs or those goddamn Republicans.
Yeah.
That's it. They're so hell-bent on owning the libs or owning the Republicans. Arguing about fucking nonsense, dude. It does not fucking matter. I don't give a fuck about bathroom issues. I don't give a fuck about the guy with his balls out at the fucking Olympics. I don't give a fuck about some chick getting the shit beat out of her by some fucking boxer, some dude. Here, newsflash, that's happening every fucking day across America. People are smacking the shit out of their wives. I don't see you getting all bent out of shape about it just because it's in your face and you just don't like the politics of it.
Well, it's the demise of women's sports is part of it, too.
Who gives a flying fuck? A president nearly got shot. Our current president has been deposed in a coup. Let's focus on that. Who gives a fuck about women's sports? They'll live. They lived for a few thousand years without having their own sporting category. Hell, they lived for a few thousand years without being able to vote. We can get by for a few months and just focus on something pretty fucking important right now. The country is being run by fuck knows who. Maybe, just maybe. Hang on to that thought for longer than 10 seconds in the fucking monkey brain.
So as I focus on those kinds of ideas, it's like, what am I supposed to do? I was talking to my wife last night about moving to El Salvador. Like, literally, I feel like the gig's up, the fix is in, it's rigged. Granted, there was no evidence of any games in all of our elections in all of history. There's no proof of any games, and our voting system is largely unauditable.
Yeah.
So I feel like the Harris campaign it's a heavily, suddenly moneyed puppet show of fakery and promises and talk and cackling and goofy, grinning, smiling faces. The joy of it all. And it's a show. And I think the only point of it is that it creates an environment that when the voting thing happens and Harris wins by just a bit, that we plausibly believe it and can categorize any questions over being able to audit the whole process as fringe. I feel like the fix is in to have Harris win.
Maybe. I think Trump's given up.
Given up?
Yeah. I think he's soft quitting. I really do.
Really?
If someone just tried to kill you and you're 78 years old, you want to go tackle those guys and wrestle with them, and you could be out playing golf and just fucking around. And
well, he's campaigning. That talk with Musk, which I was not impressed by that, but he's got a lot of energy, and he's hard on. He keeps talking immigration, and he touches on inflation and war. But I think he is passionate, but he's also getting old, so he's kind of circulating in these talking points repeatedly.
Right. He's not bringing anything new to the fucking game, and he lost last time. So, hey, maybe shake it up a little bit, dude. My point is, my thought, I don't know the guy. I've never talked to him in my life. I can just picture, though, if you are sitting there in those dark moments alone at night, and you go, man, I was one head tilt away from having my brain splattered all over the fucking national TV. Huh. These guys are serious. And they're deep. And they're hard to root out. And they're going to keep coming. So I can keep going down this path. And they might get me next time. And you know what? The last time I was in office, it was a real pain in the fucking ass. Like, I don't need this shit.
I can imagine hitting kind of a peak existential question in your future. How many years have you got left, and how do you want to spend those years?
Yeah.
And the prospect of, they'll assassinate you one way or another. I bet down in there it's simmering. When he talks about that day in the shooting, he doesn't go anywhere on theories about it. He thanks the Secret Service and the job they did, and he really, even so in Elon's talk, Elon kind of probed a little to say kind of who wants you out, what happened really, and Trump goes back to, it was so close, and thanks to the Secret Service and the hardworking men and women, and it's like, okay, that's where he leaves it. He's not going. So a lot of people, I think, may have expected him to take that and be like, what, like you're saying, what in the hell is going on here?
That's my point.
And make the big fight about it. Call it out.
That's our job. As the citizens of the United States of America. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
I'm going to tweet harder.
Well, we should be talking loudly about it. We should be writing letters to our senators. We should be writing letters to our congresspeople. We should be writing letters to our state representatives. Everybody should be doing things like actively saying, hey, what the fuck? I don't give a fuck about your bathroom issue. I don't give a fuck about your goddamn book in school. How to give a blowjob 101 in your grade school class. I don't think it should be there. Don't get that twisted. My point is, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really fucking matter, because that same kid that's going to read that same dumb fucking blowjob book is going to be on the internet later and watching some dog doing some god awful thing to somebody else, and you're going to be sitting there.
The book's not in
with
school,
your nose buried
but
in
they
fucking
go home
Netflix.
to YouTube anyway.
Right.
Yeah, whatever.
They get exposed to all kinds of nonsense. So, they can go watch people getting beheaded. So without too much effort. So
I feel like I'd sort of have this sense of like we could right this ship, the swamp, if you will, if Trump went in fighting was like, when I get into office, we're going to set up a court to investigate all of this stuff.
Well, if you're Trump, would you be saying shit like that right now after they just tried to smoke you?
So maybe he's soft playing it for the politics, and when he gets in, he's quite capable of hitting hard.
Or maybe this is the same guy that saw what they did to JFK and is sitting there going, I'm just going to soft roll this the whole way. If I get elected, cool. If not, cool. But when I get there, I'm not rocking this fucking boat anymore. I'm done. You guys have said it loud and clear. Message received. I'll play ball. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel that...
Because if they start talking about smoking your whole family or, ruining your reputation, your life forever, I mean, God only knows what kind of threats they can levy against you.
He's used to so much attack. I think he's like, don't care anymore. But
yeah, he's used to attack in the press. That means nothing. I don't think he's accustomed to having the CIA go, yeah, we put a hit out on you, dude. We missed. Sorry. We're coming back.
What I see happening is, well, one, I think the fix is in and Harris will win. This is just my theory.
Your conspiracy theory?
This is my one-man non-conspiracy theory. This is my theory. Harris will just somehow squeak by, and it'll be plausibly believable, deniable. Like, oh, sorry, and the lawfare will go on while we just print money and pay off for stuff. And, like, sort of, no matter who gets elected, the president is sort of the mascot of the teams that also don't own... And there's coaches, and we kind of focus on that and the draft and all that. But it's the stadium, it's the box seats, it's the owners and the managers and the people who just move actual stadiums and make the money. And so it doesn't matter about the game, the big game. The money's broken, and we cannot undig ourselves. Like at this point, the collapse is inevitable. It's just under, say, Harris, all this sort of just happens more quickly because it's digging harder. Under Trump, maybe we cut government, we do all these hard things, and we slow it down, but economic growth is not going to unbury our money system.
No.
We can't unbury our debt.
We cannot unfuck our way out of this fuckery.
Yeah, so it's done. There was a slight chance if, like, Trump doesn't understand Bitcoin, but if he had advisors and he gets in and they're like, okay, we are going to fix the money now, and we're going to audit the Fed, or we're going to even do who knows what, something drastic about the Fed, and make the Treasury more in charge of things and do stuff, which JFK started right before he went away. I thought, well, maybe there's that chance if Trump got in that hard fixes could be made that were...
Zero chance. There's always been zero chance. It's never going to happen.
So at this point, I feel like it kind of doesn't matter, sad as it is. So meanwhile, stay humble, stack sats.
Well, that is the part of the book I'm writing right now. This whole sort of idea of what this does to the future. Why I'm still bullish on the future, despite the fact that the political vote harder is broken, isn't going to work. I would like someone like RFK in there because at least he's not a fucking complete baboon, but he's got 4 to 8 years depending on how well he does, right? And then after 4 to 8 years, we get the next baboon that's going to promise the next baboon fucking thing.
Yeah.
So, trying to rein in the national finances, I think, is a fool's errand because they've been doing it since day one in this country, and no one's ever really figured it out because you can't. There is no solution to it. The hard money people say, well, let's just go back to hard money. I go, man, well, there's a reason that went away from hard money, because it didn't work. Well, we had X number of years of the most productive blah, blah, blah time in the history of America. And yeah, if you don't count all the banking crises and all the fucking shit that went wrong and all the fucked up stuff they had to do to get through it, yeah, it was great. Best time ever. For some people, just like it is now. It's amazing. Fiat has worked amazing for a small handful of people. But, sound money on a gold standard didn't work. Because if it did, it would still be going. But it didn't. It fucking fell apart. You can't audit that shit. You can't verify paper claims against the gold. If the paper was as auditable as your gold holdings, then it would just be gold, so you wouldn't need it. But you can't, and it's the same problem with the Bitcoin reserve. Eric Voskuhl points this out in his book, which I think is fucking brilliant, to just very clearly say, you can't have a Bitcoin reserve currency. It can't work. Because who's to say how many paper notes he issued?
Yeah, they're still using the credit card for stuff.
Well, you could never say. If you could verify exactly how much paper just got spit out into the world versus the Bitcoin holdings, then what would you need the Bitcoin for? You would already have a way to audit all the fucking money that's being floated around in the world. Mm-hmm. So the paper claims will absolutely 100% exceed the Bitcoin reserves until it collapses like Bretton Woods did.
Mm-hmm. In the Bitcoin bill, it was like, well, by 2040 or whatever, if we have stacked up so much of a Bitcoin reserve, it'll offset our,
money
debt.
Printing. Right.
That if we were to print no more money ever again, okay, I can see that. So by the time we get there, though, this exponential quantitative easing, it breaks before that. I don't see how it fixes it. We don't have the time.
Well, I marginally disagree on that. Because that's what I'm getting at, is if you just take as true, this is the world we exist in, right? Like, every day I go to work and I bitch about structural things that are not going to change. Doesn't matter what the fuck I say. Like, U.S. criminal justice policy is fucked nose to tail. It's wrong. There's absolutely nothing right about it. Just about every institutional structure in the United States of America is broken on some level. And we're not going to fix that structure. I don't think you can. It is too Leviathan now to get in there and start tinkering with things. Which is why I think they're trying to break everything right now, because they want, it's like they built this big gangly fucking house with like the roof is sagging, the foundation's all broken, and they're, rather than trying to shore it up, they just want to knock it all down and try and build a new one. And that's historically what they've been doing for the last 100 years, is they go, hey, we got this big gangly fucking fucked up structure, let's just blow up everything, and then rebuild it all, and see what happens from there. With the change that Bitcoin brings, I think it helps the vast majority of people, economic actors that matter, catch up to the nonsense the Leviathan state has to do. They have to keep printing. They have to keep plunging us further into debt. They have to keep feeding their war machine. They have to keep feeding all this nonsense, because that's the only way it survives. If all that goes away, then everything we know and love goes away. We get to start over from God knows where the reset button puts us, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere that probably 80% of the Americans that are living off CPAP machines, addicted to alcohol and drugs, or taking, 5 or 6 different prescription medications, and 60% of them are obese with chronic health problems. How many of those people are going to get back to farming? Like, they're going to be dead. Like, within a month or two, once their prescription drugs wear off and they can't eat.
That's another thing, yeah. I mean, so like, just this morning I was listening to some stats on American health and how 75% of people are overweight or obese, and a quarter of people are diabetic or pre-diabetic, and infertility rates have been growing for a while now at 1% a year steadily, and all this is just ill health.
Yeah.
Even like autism is, 1 in 30 kids nationally. In California, it's like 1 in 22 kids. Yeah. Anyway, it's just like, what is all this also, this fiat ill health, of course? It's crumbling all around left and right. And so I can see, okay, you get elected to be, you're a hard-charged, good-thinking, new politician, elected to Congress. You're going to go in there and you want to help make a difference. And you see, you're bombarded with all these interest groups issues and real issues you know about. And what are you supposed to do? You can focus on a few things and push those and try to get, support. And after a while, I feel like the system's like, well, the only way we've ever sort of fixed stuff at all is just like, the way out is just through. And so you just kind of keep pushing forward with whatever, because you cannot systemically fix it. No one can.
Correct. Well, that's what the Great Realignment is all about. Is that if you're going to be pushing through, because we are going to push through one way or the other. There's no, people think in the terms of ages and epochs and
the
generations and the fourth turnings and all this kind of stuff. There are no. It's just one unbroken line of things that have happened. It's convenient for human beings to compartmentalize things, and that's not how history is developed, period. We have not, there is not this was this age, and this is this age, and right here, from this year to this year, we changed from this age to this age, just like you can't say this generation was here and this generation is here. Like those are all sort of little ways, little cheat
Trying to
sheets.
get our minds around what is going on.
Exactly, trying to put things into little boxes so you can make sense out of the whole goddamn blade mess. My point is if you have this system that's gonna, I think people are generally, if you step back into like 1999, you know, if we were partying like it was 1999 right now, I think most people would have looked around and said, hey, this is a pretty good trajectory. We're doing pretty good here. Health outcomes are getting better in the third world. Our lives are improving dramatically. I don't have to do very much. Like, I sit in an office and fucking push emails and hang out at the water cooler. And for most Americans, that's enough to, like, buy a house and raise your kids. You think about that for a second. Like, in order to build a house and raise your kids on a farm, if you don't have division of labor and all this other kind of shit, that's hard. That takes a lot of work. That takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of in-baked knowledge. So somehow or another, we stumbled into this. It was all driven by debt, so that's unsustainable, obviously, right? And yet, that trajectory was a positive trajectory for the world writ large. It's now falling apart because they did it on debt, not on savings and productivity, which is the way it should have been. And all the sound money people say, if only everybody would just save and be productive, then the world. But it's also like, well, if just everybody would just get along, then we wouldn't have a war. It's pointless to ponder things that aren't going to happen. I think ultimately.
Yeah.
You can get pissed about it. You can hope for some magic wand waving solution. If those things would have worked, they would have happened by now, unquestioningly. So you have to deal with the cards you're dealt. You can't just go, God, I wish I had 4 aces. My life would be a lot better if I just had 4 aces every time. I would be great at poker. That's not how you play poker, right?
Yeah. And one good.
Well, the point I'm getting at is if you start talking about fixing the way economic actors interface with this system that is going to keep going no matter what we do, because it is now functionally autonomous. It is its own consciousness. It is its own thing. And there are little bits and bobs, just like your brain. There isn't a cell that's controlling your brain. There's a whole bunch of shit going on up here that's making you do a whole bunch of shit out here. But there's not the one thing that you go, oh, just turn that off, or just fix this, and then it fixes Fritz. That's not going to work, right? Because you are a system, just like our global economy is a system.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is start healing some of the things that are inside that system. And it's just like making your body healthy. I think Bitcoin helps make the economy healthy. Slowly over time, just like exercise would help you if you were fat and had diabetes and all that kind of stuff. If you just started exercising straight away, like probably 80% of your problems are going to evaporate just from you getting up and walking about 3 or 4 miles a day, 7 days a week, and getting in the sun. Like a huge number of your health problems are going to get fixed.
And also doing that through systems versus just setting goals.
Correct.
Scott Adams talks a lot about systems versus goals, and his success and talent stack being based on having set up systems in his life instead of just having goals. So like New Year's resolutions just being categorically silly, because people will you can write down a goal and like, well, I'm going to do that. And then you're just trying to get to this goal, but you don't have any real good systems in place. Like, I want to lose weight, but that doesn't incorporate like just buying the way you go grocery shopping and put on the right shoes in the morning when you're going to get ready in a mode for something, and you don't set up the system. And he talks about how a lot of times progressives or Democrats, or whatever, they'll be like goal oriented. Like we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to have this and whatever, and they just have goals, and it gets a system that's all broken, trying to put the cart in front of the horse and doing all this stuff just to kind of get this goal and this outcome, when it's the system that's messed up getting there. And that it's better to think more in terms of fix the system that in turn creates a lot of various outcomes and goals. Systems versus goals. And I feel like the system is so messed up that even as there's like siloed intelligences that are doing what they want to do and have certain agendas, as a whole, the system you describe, it's like a zombie. It's lurching forward, and all it wants is our brains, and there's no changing that.
Well, there is a change for that. That's exactly what I was talking about.
There's no answer. Or does Bitcoin fix this?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, Bitcoin fixes this.
Keep up, brother.
I'm joking.
I know. That's precisely what I'm talking about. Because what you're saying is correct. You know, like trying to set up a system. The fundamental thing I'm talking about, and this is sort of occurring to me as I'm talking through this right now. The thing I'm talking about with the Great Realignment is economically, functionally the same thing as if you took a big, fat, alcohol-addicted, pill-popping, fucking standard American piece of shit walking around in the world today and got them to start walking every day and quit drinking soda. Like, right there. So, does that fix the systemic problems with this person? No. Does it fix their addiction to sugar and fiat food and their inability? No. Does it fix any of that stuff? But this is what happens. If you take that big, fat, disgusting KFC challenge piece of shit and make them walk 5 miles a day, 7 days a week for the next 2 years, what will eventually happen to that person is that other metrics will start to improve around that because they will start feeling better. Their depression will start to ease. They will stop taking as many pills. They will start to lose weight. Then when they start feeling better, they will be less reliant upon all this addictive other shit going on. So if you fix that one little thing at the bottom of that, you go, hey, this is a big fundamental shift in your system, in your broken, catastrophically fucked up system where you're on the verge of death. We're going to fix that one thing. And we're going to keep working on that. That's Bitcoin for the global economy. Not it's going to come in and replace this and make a whole new system. No. It takes the existing system and gradually repairs the damage so that other parts of the system can start functioning correctly again. And these parts can then, once these are functioning better, then this one's going to function better. Once this one functions better, this one functions better. And then sooner or later it trickles all the way up to the brain pan that's in Washington, D.C., where they're just looking around going, hey, everything's working pretty fucking good now. Yay. Now we can start fixing some of our fucked up stuff. That make sense? So getting Bitcoin on the balance sheet of the big economic players is the equivalent of, you know, putting a big fat fuck on a carnivore diet or putting a big fat fuck on a walking regimen and, you know, bare minimum 2 hours of sunlight per day kind of regimen. That's what that does. It's shining some light and giving the monetary system some exercise. It's giving every system a way to start healing from this core change, this one little shift, that one little eat. And not because you adopt it, not because I adopt it, not because of, just pop the mic. Yeah, there's a big sound pop for you. Not because individuals are doing it, but because the big entities that are right now unhealthy components of the system start adopting it. So it's like a cancer drug. It's going around and it's just fixing the big parts of the cancer so the rest of the system can heal.
And, you know, addicted as we are to the fiat world, if you imagine, you know, it's like without even thinking about it, people being addicted to sugar, and you start changing systems and doing things better, and you're getting healthier. But that detox, I mean, we were joking about it like maybe last week about just for me, like cutting obvious sugars out of my diet, and I just found my addicted brain like craving anything that my monkey brain was thinking had sugar in it.
Yeah.
Cranberry juice, or like, okay, yeah, cranberry juice is healthy. I'll have a little bit. No, I'm gonna have a big glass of cranberry juice because my body's just like, you need this sugar.
Yeah.
And so clawing our way out of that, I see it as things heal, there's going to be this addiction detox going
We're watching
on.
it happen right now. You're actually seeing that addiction detox happening right this second as we speak. Because right now, the system is revolting. Because it is buckling. It is straining under this new system that's coming on board.
A lot of this, what we're seeing right now, is the flagellations of the failing.
Bitcoin is already here. It's already starting to infect the global economy. It's already part of the conversation. The global economy has already started its walking regimen, and it's already started a new diet, right? And right now, that process you just described is exactly what you're seeing.
That's what we're feeling now.
Correct.
I see it going on for a while, and
What makes you see it go on for a while, Fritz? Come on.
Well, like all the things we've been talking about with the politics, the desperate coups and craziness, and people's angst and focus on the dirty jingling over here with the nuts hanging out and the blowjob 101 for kindergartners and stuff.
Right.
All of that, it's like focus more on the problems. There's problems and other things, the calamity, and I could say a lot of our lives are quite in America comfortable, even as we feel the expense of things.
Yeah.
It sure feels desperate. It feels like desperate times, even as day to day, a lot of us can take the time to think about our personal sense of agency in the matter. It's just hard because it's unfamiliar.
Did you ever smoke? Were you ever a smoker?
Not like nicotine smoking, no.
No.
I only had...
Well, you were addicted to sugar, right?
Oh, sure.
Do you remember what you felt like at the height of your withdrawals from sugar?
I was like hungry all the time, even though I'd just eaten and my belly was full.
Emotionally, not physically.
Oh,
emotionally.
I would get irritable.
You're irritable.
Yeah.
You just said right now, I was drinking like whole glasses of cranberry juice because I just wanted sugar so fucking bad. It probably felt like at the time, God, I have to have this. I just, everything is distracting. Everything seems like a mess. And then when you got over the addiction, it didn't...
It pacified.
All that went away.
Yeah, it
right?
just sort of
it slowly tapers
fades.
off.
Yeah.
Every single person that's ever dealt with addiction in their lives, whether it's alcohol, heroin, it's the first 21 days. And it is 100% upsetting. It is exactly like what we're seeing in the global economy right now. It is revolting, and there's a lot of bucking and straining, and there's a lot of fighting against it. People will fight to keep their alcohol coming. They'll fight to keep their heroin coming. They'll get mad. They'll get angry. They'll push out. They'll lash out. They'll do all kinds of crazy shit. And then it's about 2 or 3 weeks later, they're just kind of chill. Mm-hmm. So you have to get through the breaking of that addiction.
I think what's hard about that, too, relapse being part of this cycle of addiction, is that all it takes is, okay, people are healing or healed, or someone's like, all better now, and all it takes is one little, oh, hey, we have just a little bit more of this thing. Hey, you want a piece of cake? And it's like, well, there it is. Well, sure.
Right.
And you relapse.
Well, let's
just
take
on
it
nothing.
Let's take it away from the addiction model. Well, let's take it into something like a disease model, right?
Yeah.
Like you catch the flu, you start to feel kind of crummy, and then you feel really, really fucking crummy. What's happening though is you're healing during the part that you're actually feeling super crummy, right? Mm-hmm. You will feel your absolute worst when your body is working hardest to get you over that infection. Mm-hmm. Those are the antibodies that are doing their work. And to do their work, they make the system degrade over a short period of time so it can restore itself to full capacity. Right now, the antibodies have been injected into the system. They're little orange pills that are just floating around the world at the speed of light. And the system right now is starting to feel the strain because it is healing right now. That's the thing I'm getting at.
I see.
Right now, our system is healing because that great big beautiful orange thing is the antibody for what we're all confronted with right now. That's the great realignment. When I'm talking about a great realignment, what I'm saying this is doing, this is excellent. I'm going to put this in the book. This is how I'm going to wrap up my book right now. You all get a preview, all 12 of you, or 20. Or
we're having an epiphany right now.
I'm having an analogy.
A synthesis of a good analogy.
This is the thing I've been struggling so hard to try and find. It's like, how can I convey what this means? What I'm trying to get across is Bitcoin is an antibody.
I get it.
For the global ills.
Yeah.
And as it circulates through the system, and as those antibodies multiply, and as they keep growing in strength and ferocity, the system is going to degrade slightly. Mm-hmm. But then on the other end of it...
We're going to be shaking at home, sweating like,
right.
I'm dying.
Yeah.
We're dying.
Exactly.
Do I have COVID? I hope so. I sure hope I have COVID.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Right now, the system just got a fever, and its nose is starting to run. And in a couple more, in probably a year or two, that's going to turn into a full-blown fever and body aches and chills. And then the fever's going to break. 2 years from now, 3 years from now, that fever will break. And then all of a sudden, the system will start healing because the antibodies will start taking effect.
And you know that day when you're all better and you can't believe that like 12 hours ago you were shaking and sweating, and then it sort of just, it passes sort of suddenly.
Yeah.
And you take a shower and you brush your teeth and you're going, oh my God, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I think
that's exactly it. That's why when people say this is going to take 20 years, this is going to take 30 years, I go, no, I don't think so. I do not think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be just like what you described. Globally, global political economy is going to get through, and then there's going to be one day everyone's going to sit there, they're going to take that shower, and they're going to go, wow, I feel a lot better.
Yeah.
I can't believe just last year I was so fucking worried about every goddamn thing in the world melting down, because right now things are looking pretty rosy. It's not perfect. I still feel a little funky, but I can go to work. I can just imagine that on a global scale, on a global system that is deeply rotted with infection right now.
Well, and I think we're not in the throes of it. I feel like where we're at with it all is that we're still at work, and your throat hurts and your eyes are starting to water, and you're like, I'm sick, but I kind of gotta keep working. And you're feeling the symptoms of it, and you kind of know you're sick and that it's coming, but you can still work.
Right.
And you'd like to go home, and maybe your boss lets you go home, or maybe you're going to stay home tomorrow. But it hasn't hit yet. We're starting to feel sick.
Yeah.
I don't know that we're
actually
yet.
in the. I don't think we're to the shakes yet.
Yeah.
But I think we have gotten home from work already, and we're sitting there in bed going, "Oh man, this one's going to be a bad one." That's where I think we're at right now.
Yeah.
I think we got through the workday. 2008 was the workday. 2020 was the workday. 2020 was like the end of the workday when you're sitting there going, "Oh God, oh my God, I just got to go home. I'm so."
Well, and Dr. Goldman Sachs comes in and is like, I got an injection for you.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine. You can keep working. And you're like floating. I can keep working.
Yeah.
And you don't feel better.
Yeah.
But you got some drama or whatever it is. You got some codeine on board, and you're kind of like, I can work.
Yeah.
I don't feel good though. I need to go back to the doctor, and the doctor's like, I got another pill for you. Here, take another shot. I got a booster.
Right.
And you're pumped again. I can keep working, boss.
Right. That's an excellent analogy right there. What we've been doing so far has been masking symptoms by using artificial. It's like taking NyQuil, and it's not fixing the disease. It's just making you feel better.
You're floating.
You're floating, right? Yeah. It's like taking codeine to get through the pain. It's like all that kind of stuff. The healing has not begun yet, though. The antibodies haven't gotten to work yet. They're just starting to get to work. They were trying to paper over the things that the antibodies are working on right now, as we speak. 1 year after we got sick, after we first got infected, 2009, we got infected in 2008, 2009, the antibodies got released, and they've been slowly trickling through the system, and it's a novel antibody, and it's a novel disease. So it's been taking a while for the antibodies to kick in. 2020, got real sick. Everything got real sick. But the antibodies suddenly roared into life. Boom. And now they tapered off a little bit, and now we're going to start seeing the real healing starting to happen very soon. I very much believe that.
And if they're attacking it like COVID, it's like, no, we're gonna print our money out of this mess and make it a whole thing about what it means to be sick nowadays, and make you think it's something else, and focus on all kinds of other stuff around it, when really you need to go home and get some rest and fluids.
Let me shift that idea just a little bit. It's the equivalent of if you got sick and you've been super sick, and they go, here's some ibuprofen, right? And then they go, okay, here's some ibuprofen with some codeine in it. And now you're going like, I'm really sick. The next thing they're going to do is go, here's some triple strength ibuprofen with triple strength codeine, and if you really need it, here's a little bit of methadone at the end of it. Or here's a little bit of, super strength opiates. There's some Percocets or whatever.
These are addictive. Don't take too many, but this will make you feel better. And sure enough, they do.
That's what they're going to try and do. They're going to try and keep masking these symptoms. That's all that money printing is to just mask the symptoms of the disease. This thing is actually working on fixing the disease right now. Mm-hmm. So regardless of what interventions they use, you're going to get healthier no matter what. It doesn't matter if your doctor's loading you up with ibuprofen and Tylenol and codeine and all this shit to mask your symptoms. Meanwhile, your body is healing.
Mm-hmm.
And sooner or later, you will come to a place where you might have to wean yourself off of the fixes, which I very much think will have to happen. But the fix is already in. The thing that's repairing the broken system is already in the system. Satoshi just went and gave us a great big fucking shot. It's like getting a shot of penicillin right in the ass when you got a case of the clap. We're just getting rid of the pus coming out of your ding dong right now.
Good analogy.
You're welcome.
I think so. Anyway, we need to get good and sick, and
why do you got to go there? Why do we got to get good and sick? We're already sick. We're sick.
Well, but you can kind of postpone it and drag it out and make it worse by going to work and taking more drugs, or you could take the day or two off that you need, rest, get your fluids, just lay in bed shaking, and really let your body. I don't know. I don't know the science behind it.
Well, but that's my point. Is like it. You're right. If it was okay,
in my mind, it'd be like, go home. So if one of my staff got sick and they're no, I'm on some drugs, I can keep working, and they're like, I'd be like, go home and rest, because if you just get some sleep, get some good sleep, and drink your fluids, broth, whatever.
That's because you're a decent human being.
That'll end it quicker. It allows their body to simply. While you're sleeping, your system is going to naturally do what it's going to do without just trying to also fend off, oh, here's some codeine too. Hey, liver, you got some extra work to do now. And so, like, get rid of all that, sleep, detox, shake it out, sweat it out, and you'll be quicker, better.
I agree with you 100%.
Better, quicker.
You can't put the global economy to sleep.
It's not going to go home and sleep.
It's going to work through this problem. It's going to work through the flu.
Okay.
It's going to show up every single day.
I see how that would happen.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I came from an industry prior to this that wasn't government work where they'd go, you know what, just go home. I had bosses in the past who were like, are you dying? No, then fucking sit there and finish your fucking work. Oh my God. Oh God, I'm so fucking sick. Oh.
I was in the control room opening doors and watching video screens, puking in a bucket because someone had to push the damn monkey buttons.
Right, exactly.
And no one else was, so I'm sick as hell. It's like, don't get near me, don't even come in this room, but I'm opening doors. And when I get off shift, I'm wiping down the console because I'm disgusting.
Dying, yeah. I'm sick as shit.
But I kept it open, so.
That's exactly right. And the global economy has to stay open. It has to keep showing up to work. It has to work through the flu. It can't go home and rest through the flu. So the point is yes, if you could just, the political solution, the person that comes in and goes, hey, we're going to cut federal spending and we're going to get rid of the Department of Education. We're going to fix the Fed. We're going to audit the Fed. We're going to do this. That would be the equivalent of go home and get some sleep. Right? Never going to happen. It's not going to happen. You don't get to go home and sleep. So the difference in healing time for someone that gets to go home and rest, they're going to get better in 2 or 3 days. The person who just works through it is going to get better in 2 or 3 weeks, right? So, yes, tomorrow, if Trump got elected, came in, gutted the Federal Reserve, did all this kind of stuff, you could get to go home and you would get to shiver in bed and feel that fever, sweat it all out, drink your broth, let Bitcoin do what it's going to do, and then everyone would wake up next year, we would all wake up and go, wow, the world's better. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to wait. We're going to have to work through this. And so not next year it's going to be everything's better, but probably 3 or 4 years from now, people are going to wake up and go, oh, man, I can't believe I worked through all that. Wow. But, hey, I feel better finally. Mm-hmm. That's my thesis.
Yeah. And so no matter who, we could fight between one prescribing doctor and another prescribing doctor, both shilling their version of a drug, or a harder fentanyl, or Mama Jane's hocus pocus. Either way, it don't matter, because your the immune system is working away in the background steadily at it anyway. One may prolong things, one may shorten things, or send you to bed. But we're going to get better.
Yeah.
We're going to heal.
Right.
So,
100%.
It's
going to heal so much faster than people realize. They just don't get it yet. This is a chapter in my book right now, the Bitcoin antibody. This is precisely the point I've been trying to make with the Great Realignment. when I say things are going to realign. Systems are going to start healing because of Bitcoin.
Part 4, Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. In progress.
It's happening. And so banks that were very overtly against it. What's
Where the
going on?
hell do those stupid effects come from, dude? Like,
Is that Riverside?
yeah, Riverside just like pops these retarded effects in there.
Well, the timing was good.
I know. I gave the thumbs up, and
Hey, it knows. It knows. Is that AI?
I don't know.
I've seen it do that before. Like maybe if I do a thumbs up. Yeah!
Ridiculous.
Wow, we're discovering new technology, folks. Hey, it did the
Oh my
thumbs
God.
up thing.
Give
You
us a
said.
thumbs up, yeah.
Okay, well that's random.
Let's do this. Ooh.
Boo. Yeah, hell, it knows. Okay.
You gotta turn that shit off, Chris.
I don't know how you turn that off. I
Somehow
probably
there's
have
like
to-
balloons in
I
there.
probably
I've seen
have to-
balloons before. I want to know what triggers balloons.
Huh. Well, I mean, I don't dislike it. It's also not my choice.
Watch this. Bitcoin, good.
Does it do a
Yay!
Bitcoin symbol? Bitcoin. Bitcoin.
Hey, fucker.
Oh, there we go.
Ah.
Thumbs up on the Bitcoin. Okay. I probably have to pay a subscription fee to Riverside to have more control over that.
If you're wondering why we're sitting here looking like this, it's because there's a postage stamp size screen. Like, we have the shoddiest, most ridiculous fucking podcast setup ever in the history of the world, I think. I mean, this is some ghetto ass shit
We're
doing right
making
now.
it work, I suppose.
Sort of, aside from the very valid complaints about our very, very shitty sound. So,
We'll see how this turns out. We put the mics closer.
perhaps we should just do our whole podcast like this, Fritz. What do you think?
We should just hold these right here in front of our mouths and like microphones, except little pinkies.
Yeah.
So that's where I feel is that like vote harder, tweet harder, kind of all of it. It's just okay, orange pill where you can, but it kind of don't matter because I look at it as a natural phenomenon, just a force of nature. The force of nature is going to bring the tide in, and the tide is going to be what it is. And we're out there trying to like, no, stop this here, shore it up here, move that water over there. And we're like all these mechanisms to try to manage the tide. And really the tide is just coming in. And so I kind of step back and stack, I guess. Stay humble, stack sats. Step back from it all and just keep my head up. Keep my head clear.
Yeah.
Keep my eyes open and not get caught up in all the little like this and that and the other. Not that it's not important because I do care about assassination attempts and coups. I do care. And trying not to get too wrapped up into it. I enjoy talking about it. So like, yeah, I'm always good for banter around ideas, but without getting wrapped around the axle about, well, I sure hope this or that when I kind of feel like, well, it's going to be what it is. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's... If we go back to the disease model, that's the equivalent of like, hey, my eyes are bleeding, and I've got a hangnail. I've got a hangnail, I've got a scratch on my elbow, and my eyeballs are gushing blood. And people go, oh my God, my eyes are gushing blood. Oh, gotta focus on this fucking hangnail.
Yeah, well, this is something you can see and do something about. And, well,
Right.
so they talk about, when there's a...
My point is just pay attention to the eyeballs for a little while longer.
Yeah.
Just devote some focus to the fact that your eyeballs are bleeding, because maybe that's some part of the system you want to shore up in the short term, right? Like, you got sick, you got the flu, and your fucking eyes are bleeding. You don't want to go treat your runny nose. You don't want to talk about how your ears are itchy. You don't want to be like, oh, I've got halitosis. You want to focus on the bloody eyeballs, bare minimum, because if you get sick and then you're blind because the heel is going through the system, but you can't see anymore, that's a problem.
You've been bit by the zombie. Don't become a zombie.
Yeah. Don't let the thing fester. Like, I think we are healing. Just don't let it kill you.
They talk about the psychology of trauma, or say being victimized, where there's fight, flight, or freeze, and there's another one that is not any of those, but it's sort of is adjacent, but it's called tending, and so there's people that, so like if you're a capable, productive, thinking person, but you're confronted with something, traumatic. A lot of people, as opposed to maybe overtly fighting or fleeing or freezing, they tend. And so it's kind of like, well, just, at least I have this hangnail. I can focus on that.
Right.
And so you're tending to stuff, or like the abused housewife, where it's like, well, I can keep my house clean and I'll do the dishes and I'll vacuum, and you're tending because it's sort of an outlet.
Yeah.
And so it's like we need these outlets, and our outlets can be the
guy with his balls
the blue ball man.
It wasn't the blue ball. There was
another guy
to the right of the blue guy that had his literal testicles hanging.
I heard that was just part of the costume, but it kind of looked like that.
No, that was his fucking balls, dude. Come on.
I didn't zoom in.
A lot of people on the internet did. They were right there. There's his fucking balls.
See, my eyes start bleeding, and I'm just like, no, I'm going to tend to my bleeding first by not looking any harder at the blue man. Anyway,
I think you probably nailed it on the head. That probably explains things better. Why aren't people focused on the big picture issues right now? Because they're so traumatized.
We're tending. It's just kind of like, well, we can rearrange the chairs on the deck of this Titanic. Like, is the music still playing? Okay, good. Well, let's make straighter rows as the ship is tilting.
Right. Yeah. That's precisely it. I think you've hit the nail on the head, Fritz. I think
it's something to do because people don't know what to do.
Yeah, they don't know what to do, and they don't really want to focus on the fact that the ship is sinking. So they are focused on trivialities to distract them from the fact that they're watching the ship sink. I think that's actually a plausible explanation. Tending.
I think a lot of people are like, they mean well. That
of course,
it's a defense mechanism. It's looking busy. It's even putting a lot of energy into stuff that at least it's something. It's cathartic and productive, and it's maybe completely irrelevant.
Yeah, 100% irrelevant.
So
here's something. Why don't you shore up the problem in front of you? Like right now, we've had a coup in America. We've had 2 presidents, either potentially removed or actually removed, and one potentially nearly assassinated to be removed from contention. Right in our lifetime, not over the span of a year or 2 years or a decade. Like within 2 weeks, we watched 2 presidential candidates effectively get snuffed right before our very eyes. And so, I get the rage about the guy with his balls out. I get the rage about the sacrilegious iconography that they used in that fucking ridiculous parade of obscenities that was the Olympic opening ceremonies.
And the closing ceremonies I heard about, too.
Oh, I didn't even know.
I don't know. There's always something. It's like, what? Anyway.
So I get that sense of wanting to tend to those things out of your trauma. And there's a bigger thing afoot. 2, not 1, 2 presidential contenders, candidates, or sitting presidents have been effectively attempted right in front of us, or actually been eliminated from office right before our very eyes. That is the hull flooding. So maybe we should patch that up. Just stay on message for just a little while longer. You don't have to tend, because the tending might make you feel better in the short term, might relieve some of that stress and anxiety. 2 presidents.
Tend to your Bitcoin.
If you want something to tend, I still believe Bitcoin is healing all of this right now as we speak. We don't feel it yet. It's hard to see right now. I get that 100%. You can call me a Pollyanna. I still look at the world. I just had that board meeting the other day where I pitched I pitched Bitcoin to a public entity. We'll see how far that goes. And I am the only one in that room that's like, I know you guys are all fucking scared right now. I think everybody is scared right now. I keep looking around going, I know it's going to be a little rough. I get that we got a fever right now. I get we're struggling right now. I'm telling you, it's just like the flu. You're going to get better. It's going to be better. It cannot help but be better, because we have the most powerful economic antibody ever conceived by man. This is a fucking miracle super drug for the economy. It is flowing through our veins right now. It's flowing through your veins. It's flowing through everything, everywhere. It is so effective that the fucking major presidential candidate was fucking shilling Bitcoin at a Bitcoin conference. That's fucking crazy.
It's pretty wild. And in the public meeting effort you mentioned, it makes me think the time preference thing, where there's this funny meme I saw where you convince a boomer to finally buy some Bitcoin, whatever they bought, and like after a month they're like, I thought you were going to say I was going to make millions, you know, and they're just like, when the returns, when moon, you know, come on, we bought some Bitcoin, when moon.
I think they are hesitant about the potential legalities of it as a public entity holding it. I think there's a lot of uncertainty around that.
Like tax implications?
Not tax implications, just whether or not a public entity can even hold it at all. Like I say, well, it's property, so yes, a public entity can hold property. I went and looked at the GFOA. No, GFOA, it's the Government Finance Officers Association, and they have guidance. They say we advise against holding this, but that's not a mandate. They just say we don't get it, we don't like it, and we're a bunch of bean counters, so we don't think you should do that. My thing is in the terms of our balance sheet, it's actually relatively trivial. It represents less than 1%, I think, or less than 10%. It would be significantly less than 10%. Probably 5% of our overall capital would be devoted to that potential investment, maybe, if they can get on board. The thing that's hard, it's just like this conversation right now. Like I'm talking to you, and we're having this nice conversation, and I say, man, the future is so bright, I got to wear shades. And people in that board meeting, people in this room are looking at me like, I don't know, dude, it looks like everything's about to go to shit. And I go, I get that. But the future, to me, I can see a bright, shining, gleaming future. It's not going to be perfect. People are not going to be just walking around like tugging each other off and, you know, just singing Kumbaya. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the overall trajectory as this antibody flows through the system, continues to repair and fix balance sheets, fix broken systems, fixes some of these things that are infesting us right now, the cancer of fiat. This is the antibody for the cancer of fiat.
And it'll take some time through that process, and also that could be much shorter than people expect as well.
It's going to go so much faster than people expect, because that is the most powerful antibody ever invented in the history of mankind.
Yeah. Well, and in the face of, well, what's the alternative? Interest rates and money printing?
Well, the alternative is to just let the cancer spread until you die.
Yeah.
And that's where everyone is planning for right now. They go, we got cancer, we're all going to die. And everyone, you know, all the guns and butter people that are just stacking up God knows what, prepping for, you know, the apocalypse and all this kind of stuff. I go, man.
I'm not against that, but you can do that kind of, I mean, not easily, but, I mean, quickly enough. You can get set up in that regard, and then you're still kind of on your Armageddon fetish, like, well, what next? What more can I do? Maybe I need another gun. Maybe I need more fencing. Maybe I need, and it's just sort of like, okay, get yourself set up in a physical meat world space, at some level, and then let it be. You got some food, you got your water, you got some stuff. Okay, good, fine. And then the layers on top of that being
the analogy
financial.
is this. The analogy to me is this. If you found out you had cancer, and you found out that there was a cure for cancer, and you also could prepare for cancer by stocking up all the medicines you're going to need and your new bandages and getting healthcare lined up and all this kind of stuff. That's prepping. I'm going to prep to live with cancer forever until I die. Or I can just start taking the antidote. I can start taking the cancer cure. It takes a little while for this to start taking effect. But the more of it I take, it's a dose-dependent relationship. The more of that antibody, the more of that anti-cancer drug you take, the less you need to prepare to live with cancer.
Yeah. And a lot of people are waiting to hear it from their doctor, who is all about the boosters and everything else. And until their doctor really says so, though, it's hard to believe it.
Well, here's the beauty of it. You get the cure for cancer, I get the cure for cancer, the fiat cancer. You got the cure for the fiat cancer. You own the cure for the fiat cancer already. you're already inoculated against fiat cancer. I'm already inoculated against fiat cancer. And the more of that inoculation I take, that dose-dependent relationship is increasing daily. Every month, every fiat mind check I get gets devoted to getting more of that antidote. So everyone else is suffering with fiat cancer right now. And it's just a slow, grinding fucking cancer, right? Every corporation is suffering from this cancer. Every bank is suffering from this cancer. Every county, city, state government is suffering from this cancer. The more of them that take that antidote, the better they're going to get. Mm-hmm. Sooner or later, they're going to get so much better that most people's cancer is going to go into remission on its own. Because they won't be being bombarded with all that fiat toxicity from every angle.
Yeah. And meanwhile, with sideways crab walking, there's sort of a great realignment of wallet holdings where someone's selling.
That is the most irrelevant thing to me in the world. The fiat denominated price.
It's fiat denominated. For me, it's more of a measure of what wallets are moving to what wallets. People are buying. Some people are buying, and apparently some people are selling. There's an alignment happening with the holdings, and so I'm always kind of curious, well, who's divesting and who's accumulating? I'm always curious about what is going on there.
Systemically, the drug is working its way through the system in the most efficient way it can.
Yeah.
That's what's happening right now. People that are least affected, i.e. the people that are stocked filthy fucking rich, they're the least affected by the cancer. Mm-hmm. Right? That cancer is not impinging on their lifestyle very much. They are the ones that are getting rid of their Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. So as they divest of it, it helps spread that drug amongst others. It helps spread the cure among others. God, this is such a beautiful analogy. It's so perfect. It's the perfect way I can finally wrap up my book.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's because that trying to explain to people like, well, look, people are going to gradually put it on their balance sheets, and then it's going to change, and they're going to be more productive and less this, and then the prices are going to like that's so fucking hard to explain to. Like nobody gets that.
You need this kind of good analogy for people.
Just a nice, clear, clean, concise analogy.
It could be that the people that are just fine are the perfectly shaped haircut, all colored and invested in. So if my hair looks good, so the eyes are bleeding, but you got great hair.
Yeah.
And so they can just be like, well, we're fine. See, we're so fine.
Yeah.
We're so fine. And they're riding on top of these bloody eyeballs.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's easy to say, well, we look good. Yeah. We're fine. As their body
is rotting. Rotting right underneath them. So, yeah.
And then the inoculations, it's okay. So regardless of, the Bitcoin's getting inoculated into various parts of the body. And once it's in the system, yeah, it's moving around. It's moving from places that don't seem to want it or need it to other places in the body. They're going to hold it and need it.
Right.
And so systemically,
it's gradually healing the system.
Yeah, we're getting inoculated. Just where it's needed, it goes.
Right. And it's going to slowly work its way through that system. And it's going to infest more systems. It's going to heal more systems.
The Bitcoin network is a circulatory system that moves it around efficiently and where it needs to go, all by itself as an immune system.
Right. It is functioning. If there are people, those /ACC people, there's like the tech
E/A, Base16Z Andreessen.
Yeah. Is he one of them?
Mark Andreessen.
Yeah.
He's a big one.
Well, like the EAC people, there's, there is one branch of that is the extinction acceleration people.
Oh, right.
So that's EAC on one version. There's another EAC, which is like, I can't remember, some more positive than the extinction of the human race. But there are people out there that are actively rooting for the extinction of the human race and replacement with AI and shit like that. But the point of that is there is an acceleration happening right now. It's just a race between fatality, between entropy and extropy right now. And Bitcoin is extropy for the system. Continued fiat cancer is entropy.
And thankfully, it's aligned with Bitcoin being aligned with humanity in that we can't help but want to be and to do and to create and to think and to explore and you can't stop that
Is
human
extra
spirit.
Is extra P the opposite of entropy? I should double
I
check.
don't exactly
I
know.
might just be spouting some fucking words I don't really know.
Extra beat sure sounds good.
Sounded good to me in the moment.
There may be another word for it, but I know what you mean.
Probably is. If there isn't, I knew it all along. If there is, oops.
You know what we're saying.
Oh,
I know what you're saying.
yeah, man.
No, I get it. Good analogy, and cranking away at your book, Part 4, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Chapter by chapter.
Part by part.
Have you added since last week to your writing? Okay.
I did clean up some of that, like some of those language things you mentioned in the email. I cleaned some.
I'm like a little editor.
Yeah.
I'm a pedantic grammar guy.
No, it's good, man, because I'm not, apparently.
Well, everybody needs a little second.
Everyone needs a little helping hand. But yeah, I get
I
to
enjoy
the book
reading
on
it.
hope. It's I feel almost Pollyanna-ish. I have always been a doomer my whole life,
Me too.
and
For a long time.
this is the first time in my life where I've not been. Like, I still drift into it. I still get doomy. I still like to talk about doomy shit. And at the end of it, I go, well, it all sounds kind of doomy right now. It looks pretty doomy right now. It's always darkest before the dawn. Yada, yada, yada. And yet, as I look around, I go, sun's coming. Trust me. It's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to trust me. Just sit and watch. It's going to happen. Like, zero chance this doesn't happen. That's how confident I am right now.
The shiny Bitcoin emblem that's been up on the wall all this time is a rising sun.
Yeah.
Is the sun's rising or setting, Mr. Franklin?
Yeah.
The sun is rising
Always
in Bitcoin.
The sun is rising over the world. It's going to be just awesome. I think the future is going to be very bright within the next 5 to 10 years. I hold such high confidence I might go find some chick to have a baby with.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Just to
That
prove my
sounds
point.
darn. Yeah. No. Good stuff.
All right.
Well, we've had a good one. We'll do
Where
it
we
again
at?
next week.
Hour 20.
Hour 20.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
80 minutes.
With the fireworks, too.
Fireworks.
Fireworks!
Yeah!
Imagine if that doesn't show up on the actual recording.
Oh, it's
It'll
there.
just look goofy.
100%.
Okay.
I just got to figure out how to get balloons. Party balloons.
Party blues! Party blues! Party blues! I don't know.
No? I thought maybe it'd be maybe it could tell that I was fake laughing. Fucking robots, man.
What are these creatures emoting right now?
Yeah.
Burp. That looks like a balloon.
Beep boop.
Hmm.
I am robot. Give me robot.
I don't know what
emoji,
all
please.
options it has.
This is not a very good robot. Okay. Bye.
Bye!